wanted to talk about Saudi Arabia as the line, and this whole idea of 15-minute cities, which is something that I think it's probably a World Economic Forum concept. So here, I'll give you I'll read out what it is. The 15-minute city is an urban planning idea which is in which most daily necessities and services such as work, shopping, education, healthcare, and leisure can easily be reached by a 15-minute walk or car ride. And so you can put up the video of the line. Let's have a look at this.
And polluted cities that ignore nature. Now, a revolution in civilization is taking place. Imagine a traditional city and consolidating its footprint, designing to protect and enhance nature. The line will be home to 9 million residents and will be built with a footprint of just 34 square kilometers. And we are designing it to provide a healthier, more sustainable quality of life. The line's communities are organized in 3 dimensions. Residents have access to all their daily needs within 5-minute walk neighborhoods. And the line's infrastructure makes it possible to travel end to end in 20 minutes with no need for cars, resulting in 0 carbon emissions. By leveraging AI technology, services are autonomous, saving you time and effort. Designed by world-leading architects, the line is 500 meters tall, 200 meters wide, 170 kilometers long, and housed within an elegant mirror glass facade. Intelligent solutions create efficiency and year-round temperate microclimate with natural ventilation. Energy and water supplies are 100% renewable. The line is designed as a series of unique communities, offering a wealth of amenities, providing equitable views and immediate access to the surrounding nature. With 40% of the world accessible within 6 hours, at the heart of the globe's key trade routes, a place for commerce and communities to thrive like nothing on Earth seen before. The line, the city that delivers new wonders for the world.
Doesn't it look amazing?
I'm afraid. That's the first thing that comes to my mind is like Elysium has arrived.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just the narration that got me, but listening to that, I'm like, I don't want to be anywhere near this place.
This is a 5-minute city. Did you hear that? She said everything's within 5 minutes. It's like a 15-minute city on steroids. It's a 5-minute city.
Yeah, you go end to end in 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, and everything is within a 5-minute walk. Everything you need. Hospitals, education, work, everything.
Don't we have that in Manhattan now? I mean,
Manhattan
organically?
is kind of a 15-minute city. Just the way it's designed. You kind of go lengthways in Manhattan, rather than.
I feel like when I live there, I could walk out my door and get anything I want within 5 minutes. Even going to work when I lived in Manhattan and worked in Manhattan, it was, if I wanted to walk, it was maybe 40 minutes. If I took the train, it was,
You would walk for 40 minutes?
Yeah, well, sometimes I would walk. It was like, 50 blocks.
Okay.
So, it just depended on what happened, where I was working. When I was working on 50th and living at 100th, I would walk. But if I was working on 20th, then I wouldn't walk.
I see.
So,
yeah, I mean, the kind of idea of this, it's a little unnatural, the way the Saudi government is just centrally deciding to create a city. And, the way cities normally spring up is that they kind of develop organically. Someone buys some land and they have a creative vision and they build some buildings, and then someone else buys some land nearby and they have their creative vision, and you get a big sort of variety of things. Whereas this is just a city as if it was built by one organization. Well, it is built by one organization. It seems a little soulless to me, even though it is very, very cool. And if they build it, I'd love to go and see it. But it seems a little soulless.
Yeah, I would go visit. I'm not living there though. But when you talk about urban developments, I mean, in Florida, there's some massive urban developments. Like there's this one area called Pelican Bay, and it's got over like 75 individual communities. And it was originally created by Westinghouse, the guys that have the electronic companies. You might have seen their TVs and all the above, but one of the big players in the turn of the century with JP Morgan and Carnegie, Rockefeller World was Westinghouse. And the place is just absolutely massive. It's got 75 different communities. I think there's over, I want to say like 10,000 different residences, and it's just this massively planned community, but it's got a little bit of its own organic design. Yeah, you can see it there, and it's huge, but it's free flow and everything's within 5 minutes there for sure. You got malls, you've got dining, you've got grocery, you've got schools, it's all there. But when it comes to a line, like everything in just one straight line.
And also the massiveness with the line, it's not the massiveness itself that oppresses me, but the massiveness that this is one structure. Like it's taller than the Empire State Building, and it's 200 meters wide, right? Which is like, it's one building.
But you have immediate access to the surrounding nature.
That's true. Yeah. It's funny how in the video it looks like it's just a line in the wilderness. Like there's not going to be roads that lead to it. I imagine it'll have a massive parking lot outside it the whole way of the line, right?
At least a huge airport for people to get in and out.
Yeah, I mean, private jets of princes parked outside it too.
Yeah, that's the part that kind of threw me off, is how does a massive city function without our modern modes of transportation to come and go from it?
It'll probably have a shanty town, like a kind of favela outside it too, all the like maids and stuff that can't afford to live in the line but work at people's houses who live there. That's going to be there too, or maybe that's on the lower floors, like the slums. It's kind of like
below deck on the Titanic.
Yeah.
Oh, man, rough. I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, it's cool in concept. I think the intro is like a Space Odyssey movie, but
yeah,
I think it'd be a better movie plot, to be honest.
Well, if they build it, I'd love to go see it. But yeah, the whole idea of 15-minute cities, this is causing some controversy right now in the UK. So we have another article from the Daily Mail. I just want to show you what this whole inorganic sort of control is doing. So there are these, I think they're called LTNs. These are light traffic neighborhoods, where in the UK they've been placing roadblocks in neighborhoods to cut off through roads, so people have to go around. And this is one kind of aspect of the whole 15-minute cities thing. Like they want to pedestrianize neighborhoods and only have roads where you can sort of drive in. You can see like that bus route, that circular thing there. But yeah, if you scroll down to these are some of these roadblocks, and they're being vandalized and set on fire by just regular people who are against this whole 15-minute city idea. You can scroll further down because there's a few more pictures and stuff.
Do they have gated communities in the UK? Because here we call them gated communities, and everybody's pretty.
These are not gated. No, well, what they're doing, so gated would be something else, right? Would be where you have to show a pass to get in and stuff.
That's what it reminds me of, is like, hey, let's make a gated community without asking anybody in the community if they want it to be gated.
Yeah, no, it's slightly different to that, in that they, if you're walking or if you're cycling, you can go through. It's cars. They don't want to allow cars to drive through, so that people have to go around, and it's kind of paving the way for everywhere to be pedestrianized, and cars are only allowed on the highway or something, or one road that comes off the highway and goes into neighborhoods. And so, yeah, it's causing a lot of conflict in the UK, but it's part of the whole 15-minute city agenda, where it sounds wonderful. They're like, oh, we're going to promote, bikes and walking and wheelchair access and things like that. And it's all green and wonderful and nice. But actually it causes a lot of trouble for people, because it causes massive congestion on the highway. And it's sort of unnatural, centrally planned development, which is, centrally planned communism, basically. So yeah, well, that's
right.
Alludes to that.
Do they have gated communities in the UK? Maybe I'm just.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, I mean they must do. Yeah, they must do. Yeah, because where do the celebrities live? You'd need somewhere. Maybe it's a little more common in the US, but I think definitely in the UK, you have gated communities, or people who are rich just live in their own country house with a gate.
The craziest things I've seen are the ones where the cars are in London. They pull in the garage and then it like lowers down into the garage and then creates another room below. It's mind blowing.
Oh wow. Yeah, I mean, actually, they definitely also have buildings that are, have doormen and stuff. So a friend of mine used to live in a building that was owned by like the previous Ukrainian president's daughter.
I was going to say, it's not Zelensky.
Nah, the guy with the face with all the sort of marks on, that guy. I can't remember his name, Poroshenko or something. Maybe it was.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, that building was opposite Harrods, the store. And the HOA fee was, I think, £17,000.
Yeah, that's a community in Mexico. That's pretty normal for there. I mean, compounds, gated communities in Mexico. I mean, that place is lawless, so that's normal. I was thinking in the UK, it's been developed, and for 1,000 years. How would you be able to turn around and say we want to have a gated community? And when you have buildings that are, 300, 400 years old, people living in houses.
Well, there's new developments there, but I think probably a gated community is less common. But we have it in the US, and the US is pretty developed,
Yeah. Well, there's gated communities everywhere. I mean, the whole state of Florida is a gated community. I'm just kidding, but really, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I went to one in Las Vegas to visit someone, and it didn't seem like it really needed to be gated, but it was. I think it's just because a lot of famous people live there. So they, there's a market for it. People will come, right?
Yeah. I was just thinking that they're forcing who's ever putting in these barriers is like, no, we're going to have a semi-gated community. We're going to just stop cars.
So yeah. So this isn't gated. It's just to stop cars. It's really it's part of the 15-minute city agenda, which is what it is. And it's making people pretty angry, and they're kind of doing vigilante justice and smashing them up. And then there are climate activists on the other side who are actually standing by these posts, because some of them are not actually narrow enough to stop cars coming through. So there are people standing by them, climate activists, who are using their cell phones and taking video and getting the license plates and reporting it to the police. There's a video in the article.
So this is sanctioned by the police and by the government? Like, you have to not drive your cars there?
So you're supposedly not allowed to drive cars through them. But there's some of them were like plastic bollards, so some cars like just mowed them down, and then it was left open. So then some climate activists or whatever like stood there, and they were taking photos of the cars and reporting people to the police with a license plate and stuff.
So this is something that's way more serious. This is the government coming in and telling people that they can't drive cars to their house.
Yeah. Well, no, they have to go around. They're not allowed to freely drive through their neighborhood. They have to go. And so what it's doing, like if your house was like just the other side of the bollard, and your place of work is here. Oh, this is terrible. I can't do it. Okay. Your house is here and your place of work is here, but there's like a bollard in between. You might have to drive like half an hour all the way around to get to work. Because they're trying to make you walk, right?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Because they're forcing their whole idea of 15-minute communities onto people. So they're like, oh, if it's within 15 minutes, we don't care. We'll make you walk. And if you wanted to drive, your punishment is you have to take a half an hour trip round.
I can't imagine what would happen in the United States if they tried to make people do that.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't walked out of my house for the whole 3 years I've lived in my current address. Every trip is in the car.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I can't imagine how people would even respond to, sorry, you can't drive your house this way to your house anymore. You have to drive all the way around. Oh, it'd be a disaster.
Yeah, I think it would.